Hello and welcome to the CRM Zen Show, the show where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 260, recorded on Friday, July 21st, 2023. Are you still master of your domain? My name is Tyler Colt, and with
And
me,
I'm
I'm
Greg
joined
Belnap.
by Mr.
Cut you
Bell.
off.
Yeah, Mr. Belnap. Yeah, let's joined by
I'm
Greg
taking
today. Brett.
over. I'm taking over all the unhinged energy, so I got to
Yep,
start early. Got to
there
start
you go.
nice and early here.
Yeah, Brett this week is out with his parents, I think celebrating their 64th or 65th wedding anniversary on a cruise up to Alaska. So bon voyage. And Greg decided to jump in and make sure that I don't keep things too straight-laced going through the news. So without any further ado, we can go ahead and jump on in to announcements and events. Alrighty, so here over on Club Z, the place where we kind of put all these various announcements, events that we have coming up. Do want to highlight, it's rare that we have an announcement. I think we've had two in the 4 months here. Do have the announcement that we are in that early access phase for Zoho Projects team training. Running a pretty hefty discount on there that you can access actually through Club Zenatta. So if that's of any interest, looking to get your team trained up on Zoho projects, go ahead and check that out. You'll very likely find it useful. Other than that, in the world of events, kind of the standard things on our side, CRM Zen shows, Azaz, obviously, where we do our weekly Q&A. Big one coming up will be next month, August 15th at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. We're doing a webinar on Zoho telephony. This will kind of be how it works at a core level with PhoneBridge, as well as a couple of the options that we oftentimes find people using. So make sure to check that out. Should be a pretty useful one. In terms of Zoho events coming up, they actually have a decent little chunk here on the tail end of July. So some user groups on Zoho projects, SalesIQ, kind of an overview webinar on Zoho Analytics. It looks like healthcare users, right? So kind of a verticalized one, Zoho Sign, Zoho Vault. They've got a bunch. Go check those out over at club.zenatta.com. I'm sure there is something that might be interesting for you.
Yeah,
With
and I
that,
will say
go
that
ahead, Greg.
if you've never been to a Zoho user group meeting, or like at least like a virtual one, I highly recommend it. If anything, there's just something so nice about just knowing other people that know your pain with
Yeah.
whatever struggles you might have with
Yeah.
various Zoho things. It's good to find comrades. So
Yeah.
uh, and Zoho actually shows up there, so it's a good yeah, it's just a really good connecting thing. And I also want to give a shout out to, you mentioned our projects team training in early access. For anybody that didn't get our CRM team training, because anyone who got the CRM team training already knows just how much of a consummate professional Drew is, and how wonderfully thorough and clear and concise he is on those trainings and projects. Very much the same way. It is a great training course.
Awesome. Oh, big kudos from Greg, and he knows his chops. It's funny, not to go down the rabbit hole. It's funny you talk about having Zoho camaraderie, and you can commiserate on places you've been stuck. I was talking to a prospect earlier this week who was saying he was getting into deluge, writing code between the apps,
Uh
and I just said, "How you liking date times?" And he erupted into about date time values. So yeah, it's
Yep.
if you're struggling with something in the Zoho world, someone else probably is. They've probably figured it out, and they might be at a user group. So yeah, definitely check
Yeah.
those out. Always a good time. And with that, I think we're ready to jump on into our weekly news. Alrighty, so first story, it's kind of a bundle of three, so we'll go through it kind of quickly. Zoho put out a couple little PSAs a couple days back due to some slowness or unresponsiveness inside of Zoho Cliq, Zoho Sales IQ. as well as Zoho WorkDrive. Each of these kind of points to an unexpected increase in usage or volume. Kind of interesting. 3 different apps could get hit by similar activity, but could be totally independent, and it just happened to be on the same day. But so if you were wondering a couple days back, oh, is it just me or is Zoho running slow? Yeah, there were a couple little issues with a handful of applications. Cliq, I know personally, I was kind of bumping into that one because we're always in Cliq at Zenatta.
Yeah, basically, we're just here to tell you it wasn't your fault. Uh,
It's not
this is
you,
it's not
us.
you. It's them. So don't worry, you're
Yeah,
not
nothing crazy
crazy.
there. Yeah. So yeah, nothing crazy there. But just if you ever have these questions, I do kind of like though. I hope Zoho kind of stays in this habit of just posting these. None of
Hmm.
these applications. I think maybe Click was like down for 5-10 minutes, but I know WorkDrive. I don't think was actually down. It was just slow or having issues here and there. So
Yeah.
I like that. I like when they just kind of post, "Hey, here's what happened. Here's what we're doing," so it doesn't happen again. Even for things that aren't like major, like "Oh my God, OAuth is broken for 4 hours" type of problems. Still nice to get kind of a root cause and resolution on them. All right, with that, we'll go ahead and jump into our next story. This one here is on the CRM side of the house. This is in kind of a long stream of updates that Zoho has been working on to make sure that emails get delivered. Right. And so this one is essentially looking at domain authentication. Right. So obviously, you always need to do your SPF, your DKIM records, all that good stuff. They're continually working on the back end of their system to make this work better and better. So it's kind of a new UI, new way to manage those domain authentications. I'm not seeing anything in here, Greg. I don't know if you had a chance to skim it, like that's
Hmm.
structurally different. It seems really this is more like a UI on
Mm.
the front end to make it easier to manage. Yeah.
Well, and more than that, there's some stuff in there they talk about that they are now like definitely requiring domain authentication
Mm,
before they'll send out any emails. Because before they like you could still send, I believe, from an unverified or an unauthenticated domain.
yeah, you could. You could. Yeah.
You could, and they're shutting that down, right? So if you don't have an authenticated domain in your CRM, it will have that Zoho CRM
I see
dash
right here.
your
Yeah.
number.com. So that way, Gmail or Outlook or whoever you're sending your emails to uh, will will actually believe that you are, an authorized sender. And then the other part of it was that you cannot authenticate a public domain
There
email.
you're talking like an
So
at Gmail and at
yeah,
Yahoo,
so
any
that's
of
in
those.
that first point that if you don't have a custom domain and all you have is a bob at gmail.com, you cannot you cannot use that as a from address.
Got it.
It will force the reformatting to be email address .gmail.com at ZoCRM whatever.
Got
Again,
it.
because there's almost no email client out there that is going to take those public domains and trust them fully
Yeah.
to push them into your clients'
Yeah.
inboxes.
And I think the big thing here that they kind of make the point of, yeah, right here, if you're watching us on YouTube as we're kind of skimming the article. So, an important thing to know with any of these platforms, whether it's a CRM, a marketing mail, anything, if you don't have a special contract with that SaaS provider to put you on like a dedicated server block or like a dedicated sender block, which like is very rare, most people aren't doing
Mm-hmm.
that, then you're using a shared backend. Right. And so, like, our emails and our clients' emails who are using CRM, if they're in the same data center, could be using shared infrastructure for sending. So it looks like these rules are basically saying, like, hey, we have some people doing some things that are non optimal that are affecting our servers as a whole, and we need to stop them from doing that. Right. And I
Yeah,
think both
they
of these
talked
things are pretty
about
reasonable, right? Like you should absolutely have to authenticate your domain to use it. That's not crazy.
yeah,
Like that's how
yeah,
it should be at the end of the day.
yeah. The thing that they specifically cited is that there were people that were signing up for free trials uh, in CRM and then using that to quickly send a bunch of spam blasts and then just piecing out. Uh,
Yep.
that yeah, so they're doing this to shut down that kind of stuff. So it improves everybody gets better
Yep.
with this kind of stuff.
Awesome. So yeah, shout out to Zoho. That's a good one. It's an important one. It's gotta keep getting better and better. Though it has, I
Mm-hmm.
will say it has. It has improved over time. So next
Undoubtedly.
story here, keeping it in line with the CRM. This is a monthly digest coming out in. This is for June. Came out a couple days back, so maybe just a week or two behind schedule here. But yeah, these are community digest. Kind of roll up a couple of the important updates and discussions. I think we covered most of these. So voice of customer, we talked that one to death. Changing some of the integrations for O365, new Canvas view. One thing that I do like in here in the monthly digest, it's if you are like a CRM nerd and you kind of do any development at your company, you should look at these every month because similar to like on Club Z, we post our code shares. Plenty of people will go in these Zoho help forums and write code for others or copy code that they've used and posted before.
Mm-hmm.
One of our longtime listeners, Kevin Flynn, is kind of a super user of doing that. He's a great coder in his own right.
Absolutely.
Um, but so they highlight some of these useful discussions. And then down here at the bottom, right, they actually highlight just functions, right, that are in there that you could just take, adjust, put in your account and have them start doing work for you. Dev's Corner as well kind of has more of those. So file upload fields, XYZ. Well worth taking a look at. I like that they do these just because so much goes on in these forums, like something I always forget. It's down here at the bottom. They have a whole series that they've done like what, almost 100 now of these Kaizen posts. So these are
Yeah.
basically little Kaizen is like a lean management term for like continuous improvement, right? And so like these are just little continuous improvement things that you might want to do. Like, hey, do you know you can color code? Hey, do you know you could do this? They're kind of cool. I like that they do them, but they're hard to find. So check them out here in the monthly digest. Alrighty, next story here. So this is coming from Zoho Creator, a little bit different than some of our other stories. This is
It's a
actually an
very
update.
very meta story. It's a very
Yeah,
meta
very meta
story
story.
because
It's an update about updates.
it's news about how they give news
Yep.
is
So
what it
it's yeah,
is.
news about news, and now we're making it even more news by commenting on the
Mm-hmm.
news. So
It's a
three
never
layers
ending
deep.
story.
Someone call Christopher Nolan. It's getting too confusing for me to wrap this thing up. So yeah, this is their revamped release notes page. Let's take a quick little peek at it here. This is something I like. I wish every app had this. I wish every app had this. It's got to happen one day. This is a release notes. So important to keep in mind, this is not a, what would you call it? A roadmap, right? Of the future. They do
Right.
have that for Creator. They do have a full roadmap, which again, Zoho, if you're listening, every app should have a roadmap publicly available. This is release notes. So it's everything that's come out recently, essentially written into a chronological view. So again, if you are a creator person, you should probably keep an eye on this. They do blend in stories about analytics. And this one, I guess because analytics is kind of embedded in creator to a certain degree. So like if you get a
Yeah.
new chart in analytics, you kind of get a new chart in creator as well. Um, so a little bit odd. You will see some analytics stories in here, but you'll also see all the creator stuff that you very well want to keep track of. I think that's about it in here, right? Yeah, they've new design. It's very attractive. You can
Oh,
now
I
subscribe to it. Good.
yeah, I really liked that. Yeah, it's an attractive design. Like, mm,
Yep. Chronological top down
this,
list.
revs my engine. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, well, let's keep it PG-13 here, Greg. We don't need to
Yep,
recall some of those past episodes when both parties were unhinged. I'll try to
I
keep us
am
on track here,
still
though.
master of my domain. Don't worry.
I bet you are. Here, a couple things. I do like filter by solution. So it looks they're kind of acknowledging it here. They've got the BI and analytics, the applications, the integrations. So filtering by any of those things, definitely nice to have. Um, Again, I'd love to see that for really all the major apps, desk, CRM, projects, like because even for us, man, so many things come out all the time. We could miss them. Sometimes there's not even an article on them, and they only show up
Yeah.
on the release notes. So it sure would like if those were just widespread for, all of the applications.
Yeah. It's always fun when a client says like, "Hey, what's this new thing that there's I see little sparklies next to it on the menu. What is this thing?" I don't know. We've never seen it. Zoho just released a feature without telling anybody.
Yep, it
It
happens. Happens to all of us,
happens.
especially
Yeah.
partners. Alrighty,
I
next
mean,
story here. This is an update on the Zoho Desk Android app. This is a nice one. A lot of the times when we're going through the show notes beforehand, I kill a lot of mobile stories because they're basically just like, hey, you can now like edit a record in the mobile app. And it's like, wow, you should probably have always been able to do that. This is a nice one. This is a really, really nice one. So
yeah.
inside of Zoho Desk, there are a subset of extensions or kind of widget style extensions that plug in under a little tab my video is mirrored, so I'll do it this way. On the right hand side of the screen, like inventory is one of them. I know they have a couple others, parent child tickets, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't work on mobile. And so now they're actually supporting all of those marketplace applications. So if you're watching us on YouTube, you kind of see like a subset of them. There are many more than the ones that they're showing here. But big ones are like one that they added recently was like ticket routing, like geographical routing as one of
Mm,
those plugins, which like the main use case would be mobile for that, not at
yeah.
your desktop, right? So
No.
having those kind of plug in is super nice. Like same with inventory. I'm on site. I know I'm going to need to use these parts. I need to log a sales order, right?
Mm-hmm.
Previously, that means jumping to another app and putting it in there and putting in the ticket ID and all that. Now you can just do it via the little extensions, which is actually a pretty big update as far as I can tell.
So they're saying that this is in Android specifically. Is that has this already been a thing in the iOS
Oh
version
no,
of the desk app?
I don't think so. This might
Uh
be a rare situation
oh,
where Android is getting a feature first.
maybe. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe if anyone's in the chat and has the iPhone app, let us know if this has already worked there. I mean, it's almost always that it comes iPhone first. Maybe we just missed the story and it's been there for a little while, but yeah, super nice. I really like this. It's one of like the only downsides to using any extensions in like CRM, desk, whatever, is that they generally don't
Mm,
really work on the mobile app. Even like phone bridge and telephony. If you
yeah.
try to click to call through your phone app, it's going to use your phone, even if you have like VoIP integrated. Zoho, if you're listening. Um, but yeah, yeah, put phone bridge on mobile. One other little update here, little big, who knows? This is another mobile app update, but I thought I would put it in. This is for Zoho Desk. So this is a kind of click to send option for sending instant messages using templates via the iPhone app or the mobile app in general. Looks like this one doesn't discriminate. So green text, blue text, you're all good. Seems like this is going to apply for everybody, unless I am wrong here.
Well,
Oh
I
no,
think this one
Android,
is
iOS. Yep, this is going across
yeah.
both platforms.
Well, and I think this one is specifically tailored toward messaging apps like
Mm,
WhatsApp, Telegram, because essentially what they've got going on here is it's like we've been seeing a lot of stuff with blended conversations and bot conversations from Desk. Essentially, they're kind of just introducing
got
that
it.
into these instant messaging things, right? So you can send a template that even has like um, a menu that people can select from. So they have like
Gotcha.
they have an example down there that'll have like, oh, you can send like a hey, thank you for texting us. What can I help you with? And then like four buttons for
Got it.
service, repair, support, blah blah blah.
Very
Um,
nice.
yeah, so it's basically moving those kind of they're not calling it blended conversations, but as far as I can tell,
Kind
that's
of.
basically what this is.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, nice to see. I would assume a lot of this stuff should work on desktop as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're on desktop, you've got this. Now it's on mobile. Again, just in that case of like, we're actually seeing it more where people are interested in desk for like lightweight FSM, especially with the routing that you have now. So like being able to send a quick text, "Hey, I'm on my way," right, when you're out and about, but having it all still tracked via desk is it's actually pretty nice.
Yeah.
I think that rounds us out on the news section here. So let us jump on into the implementation of the week. Alrighty, if this was volleyball, I would be disqualified because I just set myself, and now I'm about to swing again. This is a build that was done by Ben and Alex on our team. A consultant and developer worked on this one. So this is an integration from CRM to Writer to Zoho Sign, and then all the way back into CRM again at the end. So this is actually a much more complicated implementation. What we have here, this is a pretty drilled down version of it, but it captures the core idea. So essentially the goal here was to do some document automation. But this is a case where a lot of the times when we're doing document automation, we have all the data and we just want to send it and have them sign it. And then the CRM just needs to know that it's been signed, right? And then it kicks off the invoice and yada, 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 beautiful flow. In this case, this is more where we're sending out these documentations that have some data filled in, but have a lot of data that's not filled in yet. Right. So they're capturing things like different types of contacts, right? Like, hey, who's the billing contact? Who's the signing authority? Who's this? Who's that? That might be in CRM, but very well might not. Also has information filling in about some of the like specific requests or requirements from the client that might need to go to like a deal or, a specific custom module related to what they're kind of signing for or negotiating. So essentially what we did, you've got your account, you got your deal. Because there were so many of these different document templates, like dozens of different templates that might need to be sent out, the team decided to create a custom module underneath the deal so that we kind of parse out like, deal specific templates versus like tax specific templates versus this specific templates. So we're running a lot of these out of a custom module. We send out the document with some of the data pre-filled, but where a lot of it is not pre-filled yet because we just don't have access to that data. This is kind of when they're going to give it to us. And then the team set up essentially a listener to say, hey, whenever the document is signed, let's run it through a function, right? Let's look at what type of document it is, right? Because different templates might require like updates to different parts of the CRM. But when that document is signed, we can actually get all of the field data. So in Sign, you can drag in those like fillable fields. Someone can fill them out. But when it's submitted, that's all API accessible now, just as like, parameter value JSON data. So we can capture that data, run it through a flow, and update it across, many different places in CRM. Right. So in this place, it's updating the account with some of the information captured. Maybe you grabbed like an EIN, taxpayer number, XYZ. It's updating the deal with some of the specific info that's relevant to that transaction. We also have a custom module for account contact roles in this implementation, and it's writing there. So now we can know, hey, this is the billing contact. This is the signing contact, XYZ from this documentation. So yeah, nice implementation. Again, the big one there is just that this is kind of the reverse of a lot of the automations that we do with documents where we don't actually have all the data yet, but we kind of want to use this thing like a form. It's like, hey, let's fill it out. We capture it like a form, but then you can still sign it like a document. So you kind of get best of
Mhm.
both worlds on the build out.
Yeah, very cool. Like you said, this is a really big one. Lot of
Mm-hmm.
moving parts.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, big kudos, big shout out to superpower team of Ben and Alex uh, for stitching it all together.
Absolutely. Alrighty. With that, I think we are ready to jump on into our code share of the week. Alrighty, so this is one that Greg posted over here on Club Zenatta, and I've been talking for a while, so I'm going to go ahead and shut up and let you walk us through this one, Greg.
Perfect. I was gonna say if I was truly embodying Brett, I would say, "Oh, what's going on here, Tyler? Why don't you explain this to us?" But
Oh, you're going to
since
pay
I
for
am
that one, Greg.
here,
You're going to pay for that one.
oh, I'm gonna pay for it undoubtedly. Um, so since I am here and I did write this one, this is for an implementation we did for a client where this one was specifically they were sending out uh, NPS results to customers of theirs. And so there was an analytics dashboard that had all the nice little gauges on it, everything like that. But we wanted to send that out automatically as an email to these various customers of theirs and have it like filtered and everything like that. So we had a deluge function pushing it, but when we moved to, it used to just be one table, and then we wanted to add those gauges as widgets. Then when you export a dashboard via HTML, if there are any widgets or images, uh, they get passed as a zip file. And so what this code share is doing is shows you how you can take that zip file that gets returned to you, extract it. So if you want to scroll down a little bit to, you should see a line in there that's keep going down. Right there. So you have a dashboard where you take that HTML that you downloaded, or the zip file, extract it, and you get a file that is your HTML, and then you get files for each of the images and widgets. So this goes through and takes each element, and what you can do is you can essentially take that image file, and Zoho has a built-in function called zoho.encryption.base64 encode that can take that image file and convert it into text that an HTML viewer can then reconvert back into an image. So CRM Zen Show viewers will know that 2 weeks ago, I showed how to create a URL for if you need to store an image elsewhere, like on WorkDrive, and then put it into an image tag. Uh, this is a way that you can actually have it exist just physically in line. Well, not physically, obviously, nothing of it is physical, but literally in line with the message. Now, the caveat with this one is that uh, Base 64 creates so these are very simple little images. The widgets, it's just a couple of boxes or circles. Uh, and so it's able to keep that base 64 text relatively small. But if you tried to do this with like a full size, image or like a high def photo, then that base 64 text is going to be enormous, and you may start to see email deliverability issues. So I only recommend using this for very small, simple images, such as your widgets on an analytics dashboard. Totally fine to use there. And then, yeah, this returns to you a big old HTML string that you can just set as the body of an email. And yeah, looks great.
So cool.
Uh,
I
yeah,
love
I think
that.
people could have some
I
real
love
fun with this
the
one.
Love the idea there of just like I'd love to figure out what the upper limit is. Like how big of a dashboard could I like send through this? Because there's so many use cases there. Like, you've got like a premium tier of customers, right? And let's say
Mm-hmm.
that because they're a premium tier, you want to send a monthly update about all this work you're doing for them, right? Like, cool, create a beautiful dashboard in analytics, apply the user filter dynamically or the, account level filter when you're running this to get like that unique version and then automate sending it out monthly. Like, so cool. It's such a nice implementation.
Yeah,
Then the beauty is, right? Like if let's say our client said, oh, like the NPS dials, I don't like the red, yellow, green. I just want it to be gray. They could just go in to that dashboard, change the formatting, done, right? No,
it's done.
no
Yep.
changes to the code. Yeah, that's what's really nice because we've done things like this before, but where we've just brute force the HTML, right, in the
Yeah,
deluge.
and
And yeah,
it is rough.
it works, but it doesn't give our client autonomy unless they want to go in and like change the color coding in the HTML hex codes, which I wouldn't want to do. So
No. Mm-mm.
yeah, that's a really cool implementation. I like that one a lot. I'm sure we'll be using that soon. Honestly, that might be an implementation next week because I know what client you did that for, and yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yep.
Alrighty, with that, let us go ahead and jump over to what's new on Zenatta.com. Alrighty, so this is a blog here that the team wrote up on a webinar that we actually put out this most recent Tuesday. So I went through, recorded a session here on essentially calendar, meetings, and bookings. We do have our gripes here and there with those applications, and I tried to highlight those in the video. But we do have a lot of people saying, you know what, like there might be a bump and bruise here or there, but I really want to figure out if this will work for me because they do work for some people, and then you can save a good chunk of change on the back end. especially if you can use bookings, because now you're not having to pay for, Calendly. If you can use Zoho Meeting and not have to pay for Zoom, I mean, it's a big part of software spend every year. So the team
Mhm.
went through, kind of wrote out a quick blog post on this. So if you, after watching this episode of the CRM Zen Show, are like, I cannot listen to Tyler talk anymore, you can go through and just read through some of the highlights here that we covered. Always recommend checking out the video. Get us those sweet, sweet YouTube bucks or cents or fractional cents, for the engagement. But check it out over here on Zenatta.com. We do hope that you find that video useful.
So a quick aside. I don't want to send us too far on a tangent, but speaking of meetings and productivity and all that, uh, I had a bit of a Mandela effect moment where I didn't realize that there was an appointments and services module in the CRM. Did you ever?
They
Have you
snuck
ever?
them in. Yeah, they snuck them in a long time ago. They also have a booking tool in CRM.
Yeah,
Do you know that?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, because I did know about the booking tool, but I thought it used just the meetings module. But
Mm-mm.
I guess it uses this appointments and services module, and I was like, how is it that I just and all of a sudden I'm mementoing, going like, wait, has this always been a thing? Like I'm finding posts from like 3 years ago of people talking about it, and
Uh-huh.
I'm like, wait, has this like always been here? And
Yep.
yeah, so there's I don't know if we I don't know if I've ever seen anybody use it, but
Yep.
it's there.
It's
Do you know
funny. I
anybody who
had
uses it?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, I've never seen anyone use it. The problem is that if you're using Zoho Books, you can't use the services module because
Mm.
Zoho Books syncs your services into items or into products in CRM, right? Like in books, it's an item with a type, right? It's a service type item, a product type
Uh-huh.
item, right?
Right.
Like in CRM, it all just flows over, right? Like, and that's it. So there
Mm-hmm.
are some issues with using it just because of that integration. Like, when you try to make an invoice, your services wouldn't show up unless you kind of have them in both places. But yeah, I understand the Mandela effect there. Freddie actually did me a favor. I think it was on our show last week. We talked about how Route IQ was just announced for CRM, and my head
Yeah. I
exploded because I was sure that
could have
that was
sworn.
already a
Could
thing.
have
I was
sworn. Yeah.
sure that was a thing. So Freddie, as he's prepping for our 5 year in review show next week, there, look at that plug, Freddie, like that one,
Mm.
is going through a huge amount of our content. Bless him, he is going through it, and he actually found in episode 131 from February 1st, 2021, is when Route IQ came out for
We
CRM.
have receipts.
We
We
have
have
the receipts.
receipts.
I'm not crazy for that reason. I'm crazy for other reasons, but not for that reason. It was a thing. I am not losing my mind just quite yet. I hold on to that last little grip on sanity for at least one more week.
Great.
With that, before I lose that grip, let's jump over to what's new on our YouTube channel. Tip of the week. That's the name of this section. First time on the show. Yeah, this week, Wayne went ahead and recorded a quick hitter here, just 5 minutes, nothing too crazy, about using the email action inside of campaigns workflows to essentially grab additional info as you are kind of going through your marketing campaigns. Wayne has been getting deeper and deeper and deeper into campaigns and keeps finding these little odds and ends that are either not obvious that this is what they do, or that we just didn't know were there. So he's kind of been cataloging those, going through and writing them all out. I love the Ash Ketchum hat is backwards here for this one, so he is serious.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
this is all kind
Battle
of
mode.
pertaining to the workflows, right? The drip campaign sequences, all that good stuff there on the campaign side.
Also, I want to note that there is somebody in the YouTube chat that ASL Nelson one saying, "Glad you mentioned the services and appointment module." I just want to imagine that they're like, "I thought I was crazy too." I was like, "Nobody else believes me that it exists."
Only in like 1 out of 500 accounts,
Yeah,
just to like spread this
it's like
this legendary status, these
yeah.
modules.
But yeah, Wayne. Great. Yeah, great campaign tips on there. It's like you said, he's getting deep into it. We're honestly a little bit worried about him over
Yeah,
here
it's
on the
getting
team.
upsetting,
He's
honestly.
yeah, he's got a whole cork board with red string.
Red strings.
Uh,
What's the X-Files music? We need that overlay here.
yeah, yeah.
And on that note, I think that is our last section here. Always a pleasure, Greg, when you join one of us on the CRM Zen Show.
Yes.
Bring the beard. I shaved mine. I thought about keeping it. I was kind of growing some out as a joke this week for my girlfriend, but I decided that it would be best if only one of us had. I didn't want to make you feel bad, really, is what I'm getting
Thank you.
at
I
with my
appreciate it. I really,
illustrious
really
facial
do.
hair. So didn't want to take that away from you. I know it's kind of your thing,
I'm
so wanted to
incredibly insecure. If anyone knows anything about me, it is just how
that
I
thing
am.
on your chin too, it really should stay under the
I'm on a
beard.
I'm on a razor's edge. Just of I could break at any moment. It's yeah.
Well, then let's do that offline and wrap here for this week. Thanks everybody for joining for the show. If you want to get in touch with myself, with Brett, with any of the crazy people over here at Zenatta, you can head over to zenatta.com and click on book a meeting. On the website is also where you'll find episodes of this show, the CRM Zen Show, as well as links to all the stories we discussed today. If you want that news delivered to your inbox every Monday morning, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter.
And you can go to club.zenatta.com to join our online community where all of this news gets shared, as well as code snippets like the one that I shared today. And another shout out to our team training. We have the Zoho projects in early access right now. I almost said beta. You can go to zenatta.com/training to get a look at that. And as always, we appreciate if you could like and subscribe here on YouTube and follow us on your preferred podcast app.
Wow, you said that so well. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great weekend.